This is Joe Bailey. I'm the Director of Financial Aid at Genesee Community College, and today we're going to be talking about the free application for federal student aid, or the FAFSA. The goal of this video is to provide you assistance when you sit down to do your FAFSA for this upcoming academic year. We encourage students to apply early. The FAFSA for the 2021-2022 academic year is available now. Even though next year seems far away, now is the time to file your FAFSA. Applying early helps to ensure that any corrections or errors are resolved long before the school year starts. Plus, it gives the student plenty of time to submit required documentation if they are selected for the verification process. We encourage students to gather their information before they sit down to do the FAFSA. You want to get your Social Security number information, your driver's license if you have one. You'll need federal tax and W-2 forms if you filed or worked during 2019. You'll also want to collect any untaxed income information from 2019. You want to have your current bank statements, any information about business and investment information, as well as stocks, bonds, and other types of investments. You'll want to have that information available. You'll also want to have your FSA ID. That stands for your Federal Student Aid ID. Your FSA ID serves as your electronic signature on the FAFSA. You want to keep your FSA ID in a safe place and do not share it with anyone. If you do not have an FSA ID, you'll log on to fsaid.ed.gov to request one. The student will need an FSA ID. And if the student is dependent, one of their parents will need to request one as well. The FAFSA is done online, and you can get to the FAFSA online by going to either of these websites, www.fafsa.gov or www.studentaid.gov. When you go to those websites, you'll be able to complete your FAFSA. You'll want to select the 2021-2022 academic year. Take your time and periodically save the application as you're going through it. And at the end, you'll want to make sure that you hit submit when you're done. The online application has what's called skip logic to help students along the process. That allows them to skip certain questions and answer required questions. So you please utilize this process. Another area that can be confusing for students is the tax information. One of the benefits of doing the FAFSA online is the IRS data retrieval system. Applicants can retrieve their actual tax information that's required from the FAFSA directly from the IRS. It's a very simple process within the FAFSA. If the student is selected for verification, they will not need to submit a copy of their tax return if they've done the IRS data retrieval. So that'll save students a step down the road if selected for the verification process. You'll want to avoid some common errors. One is not completing the FAFSA. Many students think that they've done it one year, they don't have to do it again. They have to do it each and every year. Another common error is not filing the FAFSA as soon as it's available. It's available now. And even though August of 2021 is a long time away, it'll be here before we know it. Not getting the FAFSA done by a deadline. Well, you can file a FAFSA up until the last date of your enrollment. We do have students from time to time that forget to file the FAFSA, and as the school year ends, come to us to file their FAFSA and it's too late. So again, you want to apply early. Another error is not getting an FSA ID prior to completing the FAFSA, or not using the FSA ID to start the FAFSA. By using your FSA ID as a returning student, you'll be able to pull up all of your basic information from last year's FAFSA and it'll pre-fill on this year's FAFSA. So it'll make it a lot easier for you. Another error is not using the IRS data retrieval tool. If that's available to you, you should use it. As I mentioned earlier, if you're selected for verification and we need a copy of your tax return, if you've already done the IRS data retrieval, then we won't ask you for your tax return because the information has already been verified by the IRS. Another one that takes some time is reading the definitions carefully of each question. Many times students or parents, they rush through the form to try to get it done as quickly as possible. I would encourage you to slow down, take your time. Inputting the incorrect information. This happens quite a lot and we have to go back and fix it after the fact. But the number one issue as far as inputting incorrect information is putting the wrong social security number in the student section. Sometimes a parent may be helping out their son or daughter apply for FAFSA, and they put their own social security number in the spot where the student social security number belongs. That can cause problems. It's something we can fix, but it takes a little extra time. So just be extra careful when plugging in the information on the FAFSA. Another common error is only listing one college. If you're considering going to one of many schools, you can put up to 10 schools to receive the FAFSA information. And you can always add new schools later on. It's not a big deal and it's very simple. And not signing the FAFSA either with the FSA ID or printing off a signature page. So you want to make sure that you complete the application by submitting it as well as signing it with your FSA ID. If you do not have your FSA ID available, you can print a signature page. Just be sure to mail that signature page in. After you've submitted the FAFSA, you'll have an opportunity to complete the New York State Tuition Assistance Program, or TAP, application. After submitting the FAFSA, click the link for the New York State application. You will be at the New York State Higher Education Services website, which is www.hesc.ny.gov. And you'll be instructed to create a PIN and a user ID. If you've already done this last year, you won't have to do it again this year. But you want to, if you do create the user ID or PIN, much like your FSA ID, you'll want to write that down and keep that in a safe place. Most of the information will be transferred from the FAFSA form that you just did to the TAP application. So you'll just have to review and answer any leftover questions that are there. Then you'll submit it. What's nice about this is that within a span of about a half hour to 45 minutes, you will have completed the FAFSA and TAP applications. And many years ago, we would have paper applications that would take up to 6 weeks to process. You're going to do something that's going to take about under an hour, and then the government and the state of New York will process those applications in a relatively short period of time, usually just a few days. If you need help filing the FAFSA, you can contact us at the financial aid office at financialaid@genesee.edu, or you can get assistance completing the FAFSA through our Adult Educational Opportunities Center. They are at aeoc@genesee.edu. You can call either the AEOC office or the financial aid office, and we will be able to help you out. You can also call the federal government directly at 1-800-4-FED-AID, and they can answer questions about the FAFSA, and questions about New York State TAP can be directed to 888-697-4372. So please take your time, get your FAFSA done as soon as possible, and don't wait to the last moment. We want to be able to help you out, so feel free to contact us in the financial aid office or our friends at the AEOC office, and we'll help you out get that FAFSA done. Good luck to you.